Hello everyone, welcome to IELTS. In this video, we will have a conversation about bar charts. So if you guys are ready, I'm going to share my screen and we will start writing our essay. So the question says, the charts below show the number of people in Europe who were affected by four types of noise by day and by night in cities and rural areas in 2007. Okay. So the first bar chart shows the number of people who were affected by four types of noise during the day and at night in cities. Okay, so units are measured in millions. So this one is about rural areas. Okay, so the first column is about daytime. The second column is about the nighttime. Okay, before I start writing, I'm going to analyze everything carefully. So we got traffic, we got train, aircraft, and industry. Okay, the same situation for the rural areas. So as I understand, more people got affected by traffic noise, right? So in cities, what about this one? The same situation. Okay. But numbers seem higher in, okay, cities. Great. So 64, 48, 10, 8, 4, 1, 1, 0.25, and here 34, 24, 8, 6, 2, 1. And okay, I see industry did not have any impact on the noise in rural areas. Very good. So on the way, I will write down some synonyms of the words to change some specific expressions. Now, about an introduction. So introduction is pretty much simple, right? You don't have to try to make it so complicated. Just simply enjoy the moment of writing, rephrasing some specific words. Again, not everything has to be paraphrased. For example, it says in the question, the charts. So I'll simply write the word, the bar graphs, okay? So it says below, I'm going to skip that show, so I can simply write down the word provide information on, right? So it says number. Now, there is a problem with most students who often mistakenly, all right, mix up the word number with quantity or amount. So let me explain something here. Number is used with countable nouns. Amount is used with uncountable nouns, and quantity is used with things, both countable and uncountable. So I'm not going to write the word amount instead of the word number. So usually when I see the word number, I change it into how many, all right? How many who? Individuals, all right? Where of urban and rural areas, right? Okay. The bar graphs provide information on how many individuals of urban and rural areas. Where is it? In Europe, right? Okay, got affected. So I can use the word, were affected, right? So got affected by, so we got four different types of noise, right? By each of four different types of noise, right? And the period. So it says by day and by night, I can write the daytime and nighttime. All right. So, okay, I forgot to write that here, the nighttime. Right in, and now we got the year. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, our introduction is ready. So bar graphs provide information on how many individuals of urban and rural areas in Europe got affected by each of four different types of noise in the daytime and the nighttime in 2007. So altogether, we wrote 34 words. Okay, 34 words. Great. Now our overview. So regarding the overview, I see that. Mhm. So this one is higher, this one is higher, this one is higher, this one is higher, 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 higher. Okay, so daytime, right? Noise, like more people got affected by the daytime noise, right? So I can simply start with the word overall. Noise, maybe during the day, right? Affected. So cause of disturbance, right? And there is this word too, plagued, right? So it's like, causing distress, right? So plagued more residents. So I'm going to change the word individuals into residents, where it's actually in both areas, right? Both areas. Okay. But this looks too short, so I'm going to add some information here. Maybe I will say with and I'd like to talk about traffic. Traffic being the primary, right, culprit. So culprit has two meanings. The first one is a criminal, right? The second one is reason for something unpleasant happening. Overall, noise during the day plagued more residents in both areas, with traffic being the primary culprit. So I want you to pay attention to this combination. We've got was, then subject, then verb taking ing. It's a good combination, by the way. But my overview is not a word because in my introduction, I already wrote 34 words and I should write more than that, at least, 34, 35 words, right? So, and again, I am suggested to write around 2 sentences in my overview. So what else I can talk about? I can talk about these numbers, maybe, 64, 48, 34, 24, right? So they are here more, except for this one. But still, again, generally, right? So it's also clear that it should be mentioned that maybe apparently, right? Okay, second, apparently. So larger numbers of all right, so people who live in the city. I can call them urban dwellers, right? So urban dwellers were affected, right, by noise. Maybe in general, I use the word noise pollution. You probably heard about the word noise pollution too, right? Apparently, larger numbers of urban dwellers were affected by noise pollution. And then I'd like to compare them with rural dwellers. As opposed to, I can say in comparison to, as opposed to their rural, you probably heard about the word counterparts. So counterpart is somebody who's doing the same thing, but a different person, right? So in our case, people who live in the city and people who live in the rural area, they are counterparts to each other. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We managed to write our overview. Okay, interesting. It's 34 words too. All right, not bad, not bad. Now my main body one. So in the first main body, I got two different ways of grouping this information together. Maybe I can, in the first main body, I can talk about the city, and in the second main body about rural area, or I can compare traffic in the city with traffic in the rural area. Again, it's up to me, but I'm going to stick to the first one. So in cities, for example, yeah, we got 64, right? 64 versus 48. Maybe I say a total of 64 million, right? Because if you remember, it's at millions. By the way, million, it should be million here. It's not millions. Uh, because we can say millions of people, right? Millions of fans, but million itself is already a plural noun. So when you write next time with the number, make sure you're not going to write S at the end of the word million. So otherwise it will be a mistake. In cities, a total of 64 million people, okay. The synonym of affected, maybe I say were subjected to, um, it's about noise, right? By traffic during the day. All right, maybe I say daytime. So here I'm using the word daytime as an adjective. Daytime, traffic noise. All right, that's it. But it sounds okay, a little incomplete. Maybe I talk about this one here. 48, okay? So I'm going to mention that. Maybe 64, 48, 16, right? 16 million more than at night. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, our first sentence is ready. In cities, a total of 64 million people were subjected to data and traffic noise, 60 million more than at night. Great. Now the second one is going to be train, 10 versus 8, right? Okay, so it's the second main like noise contributor. Maybe I'll say something else here. Train, disturb it, right? Disturb it, maybe. Okay, 10 million, right? Residents, I'm going to use the word residents again. Say by day, right? And it was 8, right? Maybe I will make some slight alterations here. 2 million fever, right, at night. That's it. Train disturbed 10 million residents by day and 2 million fever at night. Great. Now, the third one, aircraft, 4 versus 1. Okay, it's like 4 times. What about this one? 1, 0.25. Okay, it's 4 times 2. So 4 times, 4 times. Maybe I will combine them here. They, night, right? Yeah, gap means difference, was particularly large in the number of people, right? So affected, maybe we say exposed to, right? Exposed to aircraft and industry noise, maybe disruptive, right? Why not? Disturbing. So disruptive. Okay, why not? Disruptive aircraft and so industry noise, because the word noise is uncountable. So I'm mentioning two different categories here. The day and night gap was particularly large in the number of people exposed to disruptive aircraft and industry noise. Now I'm going to talk about specific details. So accounting for, account for is a synonym of make up, constitute, amount to, right? Accounting for, the first one was 4 million, and here, so it was 4 million here, and this here it's 1 million, right? Accounting for 4 million and 1 million, respectively. So then I'm going to write the subject. These types of noise, right? Affected. I didn't use the word affect as a verb in the past, right? I used it here. What was that? Okay, I used it somewhere. Subjected. Okay, it was earlier, I guess. Here, plagued. Affected. Okay, it's passive was here. So accounting for 4 million and 1 million respectively, these types of noise affected. So it says 4 times, right? For both. 4 times as many, right? People during the day. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, our first main body is ready. So it is 72 words. Okay. 72 words. Great. Now main body 2. In the second main body, I'm going to talk about this one here. 34 versus 24. The question is, how am I going to start it? I don't want to repeat the structure here. It's in cities. I don't want to simply say in rural areas. Maybe I will use other expressions. So among, right? Rural residents, dwellers. Maybe we use the word inhabitants. The word inhabitant is good for writing, not for speaking. So let's add some connecting device. On the other hand, okay? So the first one was 34, then 24, right? So 34 million. I don't have to say people here. So it's about people, right? 30 million people. Where? Okay, I guess I have this option left. So maybe I can change it later. Anyways, among rural inhabitants, on the other hand, 34 million were affected by traffic noise, right? In the daytime. I remember writing this expression in my introduction, so it's the second time I'm repeating it. 34 million affected by traffic noise in the daytime. And then I'm going to talk about 24. So maybe I will use this expression again. The number, right? So verb taking ing, and then if I say 2, it's going to be 24. If I say by, it's going to be 10 million, right? Million at night. That's it. As you understand, some of the expressions are repeated. Now, the second one is train. Okay, so there is this interesting fact. It's 10, 8, 8, 6, right? 2 million difference. So maybe I'll mention that one here too. So maybe train was the second highest, right? Contributor, noise contributor or contributor to noise pollution, right? Uh, okay, in these areas. So I can say 2, right?
I'm serious.
What the heck? Okay, I'm sorry. So train was the second highest contributor to noise pollution in this areas too. And now I'll talk about the details. So I'm not going to simply say 8 versus 6. So maybe in contrast to cities. Okay, in contrast to cities. Um, rural areas experiencing, right? Train noise. No. Okay, maybe I'll say something else here. Okay, maybe recorded 2 million fever, right? Individuals. That's better. Experiencing, right? Train noise across the, across maybe both daytime and nighttime periods. So let me read it again. In contrast to cities, rural areas recorded 2 million fewer individuals experiencing train noise across both daytime and nighttime periods. All right. Now, another one is going to be aircraft. Okay. So let's write it differently. So it's like 2 plus 1, 3, right? Aircraft. So aircraft, caused disturbance. Uh, So a total of, right, 3 million rural residents. So I can write the word rural dwellers too. But anyway, so rural residents that I write it here, residents. So it's okay to use it. So aircraft caused a disturbance to a total of 3 million rural residents. And then I'm going to talk about one of them. I can talk about 2 million or I can talk about 1 million. Then it's going to be clear that the other one is the remaining number. So maybe we'll put it this way. Million of whom, all right, were okay, affected. So but I see that I already wrote the word affected here and before too. So 1 million of whom were affected um, at night, right? And then I'm going to talk about the final one, while, and here it's 0, right? So while industry had no recorded, maybe, impact in these areas. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we managed to finish our second main body. So we wrote here 87 words. Okay, it's a little more than the first main body. 87 words, I guess. So you can do the math. We got 34, 7 to 87. It's already more than 200 words, I think. That's it. This is how you write it fast. And then you can simply proofread, trying to change some of the words and expressions, right, to increase the quality of your essay. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I wanted to talk about today. Make sure you will analyze the video and you can pause and then you can write your own essay first before reading my sample. Thank you for your time. See you next time. Bye.